Okay, finally, Hollywood is creating an epic African historical drama, The Woman King. I just heard about this movie. I was just excited for Viola Davis. It's getting great reviews. It's at 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. And, it's something different. It's almost something revolutionary. Because in Hollywood, they like two types of Black films. It's slavery, or it is the Jim Crow era, it is the civil rights movement, and that's where it ends. Or it's like something to do with like racial trauma. I have not seen this type of movie relating to African history be given this type of budget and publicity before. So this is super promising. This weekend, they're saying it's going to make up to $20 million for the 3-day weekend, which is pretty huge. That's really, really good for African epic. Now, I just Googled what this movie was about because I was ready to see it. And to my shock, this film has a darker history than what I ever thought. I thought finally we're seeing something different because Hollywood always focuses on European history. We know all about it. Every single, European historical drama, it's been done again and again and again. So this was something different. So I Googled what this movie was about. Okay, so here's a synopsis. This story is set in West African kingdom of Damoni during the 1820s. And it follows an all-female group of warriors called the Ajoji, sorry if I'm butchering that, who protect the kingdom. And they've been in power for over 300 years. So this is a great story of, a rare female empowerment back in the day. Female warriors. And I heard that these warriors were the inspiration behind the Black Panther warriors. So really cool, we get to see the actual inspiration behind that. So this story centers around a threat that is coming to the kingdom, and these warriors are going to defend themselves against these colonial powers that are coming after them. So Viola Davis's character is focusing on training a whole new generation of warriors to go up against these European colonial powers. So 10 minutes into my research into this film, I found out that these group of warriors had a major role in the slave trade. The economy of this kingdom was based on slavery. These warriors grouped up a bunch of locals. They would do these raids where they would round up women, children, and men and sell them off to Arabs or European colonial powers, essentially making money off their brothers and sisters. I had no idea. I knew there's a lot of Africans that made a lot of money trading their brothers and sisters. So I'm guessing that the way of life that they're trying to protect is not just their culture, but their entire wealth, which is built on slavery. And I don't know how much this film glosses over that. I tried to read the reviews, but it is just mainly talking about the powerful message, the powerful imagery, the refreshing imagery of these like strong, incredible African warriors, which I can appreciate. That's the reason why I wanted to see this film. But apparently, this film glosses over the brutality of the slave trade and the slave raids these warriors did constantly. And this is more about a feel-good film about, how Africans struggled with colonialism and them fighting back, and, I think this movie, they're fighting against the French who are already surrounding them, and they want to continue to grow their power in West Africa. And this kingdom is in Benin, I believe. And if you know anything about the slave trade, Benin was one of the major hubs of the transatlantic slave trade. Actually, a lot of African Americans can trade their bloodline back to Benin. It actually would have been really interesting to see the effects of slavery in Africa and see how they dealt with the morality of trading each other for this horrific business. I mean, slavery was a massive economy. And Africans weren't all, resisting or, trying to fight against it. There were people who were actively defending this slave trade because they were making a massive amount of money on it, like this kingdom was. This kingdom was very, very wealthy. And they had such a hold and power over their neighbors, specifically because of the slave trade and how much they got for it. I really do not see the perspective of those trading slaves who are from African backgrounds. We've never seen that before. That would have been a really interesting thing to see. And I believe the French ended up defeating these group of warriors and colonizing the kingdom and putting it under their protectorate. So I don't think this has a happy ending, but it's probably going to have a Hollywood moment where it's like 300, where these warriors like go against the odds. And even though they lose, they still win. But it glosses over the really unfortunate history of this kingdom. And I was thinking, like, why would Hollywood glorify this? Like, why would this be something that's like a historical, epic for the ages? So this is a movie that's a product of two white women. This is not like like warrior Hollywood movie. There's a lot of heavy historical baggage connected to these warriors. And, that's unfortunate. So I think this movie is a bit problematic. I understand the pushback now, because before, all I heard about this movie was that, people were upset, mostly, the femininity, Black femininity people, where they're like, we don't want to see masculinized Black women. I'm like, yeah, but this is a great story. It's something different for Hollywood. It's not a Black movie about slavery. It's not a Black movie about, racial trauma in America. And it's certainly not a white story with a Black face on it, like the Anne Boleyn movie, or is it a miniseries? I'm not sure. But that told the story of a white person, a white historical figure, but played by a Black woman, which is the most insane thing I've ever seen. I'm like, we already know Anne Boleyn. Why would we want to know more about her or know her story through the eyes of this Black actress? We want Black historical movies. So I was really hyped for this, but unfortunately, it looks like this is Hollywood trying to sanitize a dark history. And worst of all, they're girl bossing the transatlantic slave trade. And eventually, Viola Davis's character, she argues to end the slave trade, the slave economy in this kingdom, and to move towards an economy that is strengthened by palm oil, which did happen. I think this film, if they're going to gloss over it and try to make it like a feel-good movie about these warriors going up against colonialism, but completely ignore the slave raids, which I think is an important thing to show. I would have liked to have seen something more balanced coming from a Black producer, a Black writer, that could really tackle all sides of this story and not just focus on, the girl boss moments and the amazingness of these warriors. The reviews are glowing, but a lot of them aren't talking about this. They're not talking about, the historical inaccuracies and how this movie's been given a Hollywood blockbuster treatment. And I'm not surprised by the people behind this film. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not surprised by it. Let me know, have you guys seen The Woman King? Is it glossing over slavery? Anyway, catch you guys next time. Bye.